already, I'm Joe Skipper with Skipper Realty Group, brokered by eXp Realty out of Oregon. And my friend Cody Wilhelm with Residential Mortgage is with me as always.
Hey guys.
Today we are going to talk about rates. We're going to talk about the mortgage rates. We're going to see what's going on in the mortgage world and industry, and then just kind of some of the statistics. We'll try to do this once a month where we go over kind of the monthly stats and see where the trends are going so that you guys can make better, more informed decisions when you do decide to go sell or buy. But Cody, how are you? Are you ready for Thanksgiving?
I am fired up. I love me some stuffing. I like turkey, but man, that's my go-to. So we got football and stuffing, and our middle son Zeke, his birthday is on Thanksgiving this year, so get a little 2-for-1 there out of
Oh,
that.
nice.
So yep,
Nice. That's cool.
yep.
I was raised. My mom is Scottish, born and
Uh-huh.
raised in Scotland. So we. I don't want to say we didn't celebrate it, but it wasn't like a super important thing for us. Not that we're not
Sure.
thankful, but like I just
Yes.
roped it in the trend of the heavy into Thanksgiving. So thanks, mom,
Yeah.
for
Right.
ruining that for me. But no, we did celebrate. But my mom, being from Scotland, was like, it just wasn't the same thing.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I'm
What do you
looking
guys got
forward
going
to it.
on?
We got just going to my sister-in-law's over in Tigard, so we're just gonna have family over there and do that, and again watch football, and yeah, so it'll be a good time. But the kids have been off for a week this week, so we're
Uh-huh.
ready to have them back already. So
Yes. Yeah.
and then a
Waiting
couple
for
couple week
Monday.
break. Yeah, a couple week break, then they're back on break again, or a couple weeks in school, then back on again. So
Yeah.
yeah, but it's been good. We've just been relaxing and kind of having fun, wrapping things up with work in order to kind of have a Thursday that's more or less normal. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, so yeah, things
Nice.
are good. So we're looking forward to
Nice.
it. But
Good.
I did want to just let you go on about about rates currently, and then we had
Hmm.
talked earlier about some stats and things that are going on in the world, and kind of. So I'll let you take it away from there, and I'll
Yeah.
ask any
Yeah.
questions.
Okay. So as far as a week to week, last week they had gone up just a smidge from the previous week. This year they've gone down just a little bit. As of today, the 30-year average is about 7.38, which is down. It was 7.45 last week. So starting to see it kind of inch down a little bit. That's, again, I know I say it each time, but it's the average. If you were to go get a mortgage, it's going to be a little higher than that, but it's showing that it's trending in the right direction. Starting to see more reports that are coming out that are showing a little bit more of a weakened economy. There have been some bigger businesses this week that have announced that they're going to be starting to do some layoffs. Citibank was one of those. So that's going to be, they have 240,000 employees, and they're talking about doing a pretty big cut there. So I think as things continue, we see commercial real estate starting to kind of shake up a little bit. I think there's enough factors that are starting to kind of move the needle a little bit, even though the Fed has not made any decision to lower rates. The current standpoint is that they're holding tight with the Fed rate. So um, kind of going through and looking at some different articles, some different places that I track and follow, to bring an outlook for what 2024 is going to look like. The NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors, the chief economist there, Lawrence Yun, he forecasts that existing home sales will rise by 15% next year, and that mortgage rates will be between 6 and 7 by spring of 2024. So you think about if we go off of the 7.3, 7.4 that we're at now, they're expecting that we do start to see them come down in the near future. And then another one that I was reading was believing that the Fed's big number for bringing rates down is going off of the inflation rate of 2%, and we're still up in kind of the mid to high threes. So that's what's really preventing the rates from coming down. But they are, this article that I read was expecting or projecting, I guess you could say, that the 2% inflation rate that the Fed is really trying to achieve could be by about mid 2025. So that's, we might start to see things next year start to come down as far as interest rates go. But I don't know that it's going to be this big wave of just dropping rates rapidly. But like that commentary from the NAR, I think that there's a 15% increase in existing home sales is likely due to mortgage rates coming down. Because as we've both seen, there's plenty of people that want to buy right now. It's just finding something that's affordable to them. And so if we can start to see those come down, I think we will really start to see those home prices potentially go up, but also just things becoming more affordable, and seeing the market kind of move a little bit more. So the MBA, the Mortgage Bankers Association, is forecasting that rates will be around 6.1% by the end of 2024, and then drop to about 5.5% by the end of 2025. So if those things are true, then we're really looking at a gradual decrease over the course of a couple years. So I know we're always kind of expecting, whether it's good or bad, we're expecting that things are just either going to boom really quick or crash really quick. And based on the trajectory of what all these people that are significantly smarter than I am are looking at it going, this is going to be kind of a stair step process, just kind of like it was kind of a quick stair step up, but unless something, that none of us are expecting happens, I think the outlook seems to be that we're kind of at the top, hopefully, and we're just going to start to slowly see things coming back down over the next couple years. So
So what
should
do
be.
you? So when you were talking about layoffs and things like that, is there a
Mhm.
correlation between seeing commercial sales go down and layoffs go down to the rates going down, or to the
Yeah.
rates going up, or vice versa, or opposite of that?
Yeah. So really, if we start to see more layoffs, which is typically going to mean more unemployment, less jobs available, that's going to be a big needle mover for the Fed when they're taking in all this data on what the economy is doing. If the unemployment numbers start to creep up more and more, that's going to show that the economy is weakening, which could potentially speed up their process of starting to lower rates, because it's you have two outcomes. You have the doing whatever it takes to get to 2% inflation, no matter what the cost is, or you have, this is our target, without completely crushing the economy. And if it starts to show that there's momentum, that there's less jobs, more unemployment, um, the expectation is that that's taken into consideration. And it's like, okay, we've done a good job. Maybe let's kind of ease back a little bit. So yeah, the more layoffs, the more turmoil in the economy, it in theory should be speeding up the process of starting to lower rates, but
Yeah,
you never know.
to kind of spur things. It's always a fine line game to play to
It
figure
is.
out.
It's a guessing game, and it's just trying to get as much information as you can to see what's out there, and you never know.
For sure. And I think that
But
leads to, I did a video that's coming out on Friday on YouTube around the same topic. A couple of things is like, staying up to date with what's going on. And that is like, we've talked about it, is you have to, in this market, if you listen to the media, they all have the experts and the predictions and like,
uh-huh.
by this date, this is going to happen. So wait it out, or and really ultimately it comes down to you as a buyer and seller of when a good time for you is and whether you can afford it. But also that like you have to have like an expert team with you, that lives it,
Mm-hmm.
because a typical buyer, what, purchases and sells maybe 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, if that, if like on an excessive side.
Yeah.
Not meant to know all this stuff that's going on. And if you just watch the news or you just watch the media, you have a very small blurb of someone who wants to get ratings versus someone who may know what they're talking about or may be able to help you.
Yep.
And say they don't know what they're talking about, but there's always a slant. Like,
Uh-huh.
and so at least like what I like try to encourage people to do is talk to a lender. There's no loss to it. You don't charge them by the hour. You don't do
Mm-hmm.
anything. But I think like it's really helpful to kind of get an insight into the market, get an insight into what's going on in the world, so that you can make a better decision for you and your family and then your neighborhood and your specific area. Because we can all look at national numbers and see what's going on, or look at the national unemployment rate or whatever. But for example, Lake Oswego is not going to be affected as much by those twists and turns
Right.
as maybe a smaller town or some
Mm-hmm.
or a town that has that city bank or some. So I think it's just important to have people on your side kind of guiding you through it to kind of help you to know when the right time is for you.
Yep. And just knowing your numbers too. Like I think
Yeah.
that there's a kind of, it's either exciting or kind of scary, right? You're
Yeah.
going into this process and it's like maybe I don't really want to know what my credit score is, or
Yeah.
maybe I don't want to accept the reality that I can't afford to buy a home. But a lot of times it ends up just being a matter of like, there's a couple things that need to be tweaked, or maybe we set you up on a 1 year plan on paying some debts down and working on your credit or saving money or whatever it is. But I think the most frustrating thing for anyone is they find a house that they like, they're excited about it, and they haven't done the legwork of figuring out what their numbers look like, and then bam, you're crushed. And
For sure.
well, I guess we're just going to rent forever, you know. So I'm with you, and probably a little biased being a lender, but I think that it's just like anything else, right? You got to kind of get the back end stuff figured out first, so that you can know what to expect and know what your numbers are going to look like. Because some
Yeah.
people too, they look at a house that's a beautiful home for 650,000 and don't realize what the payment is, and that it's like not even close to what they thought it was going to be. And so it's just nice
Yeah.
to get the information early, especially before you know too much time and energy gets put into it, and the excitement of it all. I'm sure you see it all the time, but
Yeah, I think it's hard because it's I get it. It's a hard decision. It's a big investment. It's a hard decision, and it's an intimidating one. And it's you don't. No one likes to go into something feeling stupid and feeling like they
mm-hmm.
don't know. And so when they talk to a lender or they think of talking to a lender or an agent or something, it's like it's a very intimidating process. And especially when you're exposing your income or your money
Yeah.
to those people that don't. We live it and are like, don't worry about it, but it's very
Uh-huh.
hard to do. But
Yeah.
I think that you're right. It's just once you get in and do it, just rip the Band-Aid off, because it'll put you in a better position to know what you can
Mm-hmm.
afford, when you can afford it. And maybe you can have a better idea of, okay, when rates hit this, I could go for it, or I can go now and then wait till rates drop, or hope
Yeah.
rates drop. But anyways, that's
Yeah.
get off our high horse here.
Right.
Uh,
What are you seeing in
but
the market right now?
yeah, so it's interesting. I just am on NAR, and sorry, I don't have my glasses, so I'm like an old man. I should put on my glasses so I can see me squinting. Um, it's interesting because nationally, again, things you can say nationally one thing, but it means nothing for a particular town or a particular
Mm-hmm.
or a particular area. And so it's a really interesting world that we live in, that like you can hear the national stats, but does it really, does it really affect where I work or where you're living, or so
Yeah.
anyways, interesting. But existing home sales dropped in October nationally, but median sales price increased nationally. So the home
Okay.
sales are less, but the prices are increasing. So it's a little unique in that sense. I just wanted to go over. I saw on Yahoo Finance just the other day that home prices are declining, including Bend, Portland, Beaverton, Hillsborough, Eugene, Gresham, Salem, Medford. So home prices declined in those particular towns. But
Okay.
again, I hesitate to say it, because if you get in a certain area, because like you were saying earlier, the buyer demand is still there. So if you got into a certain area in Salem or a certain area in Bend, as you know, is super popular. So
Uh-huh.
you just wonder kind of the stats, like particular to certain neighborhoods or certain areas or certain demographics of people that can afford, homes.
Sure.
So just an
Hmm.
interesting stat. So going over the Portland Metro, from October of this year to September of this year, new listings have decreased, pending sales have decreased, closed sales have decreased. The average sales price has decreased just slightly. The inventories kind of stay the same, and market time, which is basically days on market, has increased since last month. If you looked at it it's kind of the same stats from October of 2022. New listings decreased, pending sales decreased, closed sales decreased. Average sale price went up by 0.1%,
Hmm.
and market time went up since last year. So we are starting to see what I would say is like a normalization of the market. Things are just, we were in a crazy time with 2 to 3% rates. The days on market were
Yep.
four days on market. It's ridiculous. But we've
Yeah.
grown so accustomed to the number of 2 to 3% interest rates, days on market being quick, home prices going up 30, 40% in some areas over a
Mm-hmm.
month period. I think what we're starting to see, and makes people panic, is a decrease. You're seeing the decrease in prices. You're seeing the decrease in home sales. You're seeing the increase in days on market. For someone who looks at it and studies it, normalizing. Like that's
Yeah.
not, none of this is uncommon that the days on market is increasing to, what is it, you know, 7 days or so, like
Yeah.
that's still an absurd number,
Yeah.
so, whereas, I talked to my in-laws who've been in the industry for 30 something years have been, 60, 90 days was like a normal. So your house sat for three months, and that was like
Sure.
normal. Like, and I think we've just all grown so accustomed to like, why isn't my house selling in a day? And for
Yeah.
30% over asking. And so what I'm seeing, at least, over the year to year and the month to month, is the home prices kind of settling, home
Hmm.
sales settling, days on market increasing. But to me, it's nothing to be like crazy concerned about right now.
Yeah.
I can see in Wilsonville, month to month, the home prices dropped 15%. So that's a pretty decent. That's a median home price. So that's a pretty decent drop.
Yeah.
So it's something to watch out for, because that's a larger decrease. But
Hmm.
overall, what we're seeing is kind of, to me, a normalization of the market. So really, what I found is like more of just educating buyers and sellers that we're not living in our fantasy world or fantasy real estate world of 2 to 3% rates, and your house gets listed for 500,000 and sells for 800,000.
Right. Yeah.
Because it just isn't it's just not that. So I think it's more of just like, to me, we're settling down, we're starting
Yep.
to breathe. Yes, it sucks to be a seller now because you're like, I gotta sell and buy at an interest rate of 6 to 7% or 7 or 8% right now.
Hmm.
I think once we grow accustomed to that, and once we start educating buyers, and buyers and sellers just start knowing that, hey, this is now the normal market.
Yeah.
COVID artificially made us a market, really. Like
Yep.
like the government said, here's a new market and it's great. Like, let's start spurring the economy. And now it's like, I think we thought like, oh, that's normal. That's just a natural like market. Like,
Yes.
no, it's not. It was artificially put in there. So I think the 6 to 7% rate for me is good. Like, 6 to 7%, even the 7 to 8. Like, I hate saying it, but it's like, over a historical time period, it's a
Yeah.
decent rate. Like,
Well, yeah, and like you said too, I think it's as much as it's kind of brutal for anybody, right? Whether you're a buyer or a seller, it's not always a great time to, like it's not all going to be 2020, 2021 rates, but overall, I think it is a good thing for the housing market, right? It's something needed to cool it off and slow it down. I mean, you remember there were people that they were having to put in offers before even looking at the house or
uh,
bidding 30, 50, 80 grand over the asking price just to get it and then see what happens from there. So I think for the overall health of it, it's a good thing. And there's always a bit of concern for anybody when it comes to, I mean, it's a huge purchase, right? But I think the thing that gets overlooked too is that the reason that it's so slow is partially because of interest rates being where they're at, but also so many people having a low rate that they don't need, there's not an incentive to sell. So it's not like the housing market is like in this bubble ready to burst and all these loans are going to be due and bad. It's like people are just sitting comfortably going, all right, well, maybe we won't move for a couple of
for
years.
sure.
So I think overall it kind of does hit the reset button on the cycle of everything, and hopefully it produces a more healthy environment for both buyers and sellers, not just one or the other.
Yeah, because it was way out of balance. It was,
Yeah,
it was way out of balance with buyers just not being able to get into a home. It was great for sellers, but
sure. Yeah.
it was a tough one for buyers. And I think, yeah, I'm starting to see that anecdotally of buyers
Hmm.
having a little more power, a little more buying power, sellers having to concede a little bit. And I think
Yeah.
that, in normal life is okay. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, just seeing things kind of like, not being scared by those stats, but I've been seeing the stats just kind of, leveling out, lowering.
Uh
So we're
huh.
seeing a lot of those reds of like drop, 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 drop. But it's like, in the scheme of things,
Sure.
I don't foresee anything crazy going on on my side of the market. So.
Yeah, you're not seeing anything that's real concerning for big major drops anywhere or anything. So okay.
No, I think it's just, yeah. I think it honestly. I hate I don't hate harping on it. I harp on it all the time. But like, it's really having a team that can guide you, and whether that's me, you, or a combination or both, or anyone. It's just
Hmm.
having. I think you're just going to be put in a much better position financially and for wealth building and for making good decisions as an investor.
Yeah.
Than going with having a team by your side doing it rather than going out alone is going to put you ahead of the game in so many ways.
Hmm.
So I think
Yeah.
that on the real estate side of things, that's kind of just what we need to do as agents. is raising our bar, providing value, showing clients that like, look, this is what we can do for you and put you in a better spot as a buyer and a seller. You don't have to be so stressed and watch the Foxes and the CNNs and all that stuff and panic that the world is coming to an end. And really have a team on your side that knows your market and can help you guide you into what you need to get into. So
yeah, and something that you just mentioned too that I think can get overlooked is the wealth that can be made from owning a home. Whether you're using it to be a stepping stone for, it's a first home, and then you sell it, use that money to buy the forever home, or you turn it into a rental. I mean, real estate overall it's always growing and growing. Not to say there's not going to be, you look at right now, we've got some lows, but overall I think it gets overlooked at times to where it's like, this is just a home for me to live in, when in reality, I mean, it's you're going to be gaining year after year after year with whatever you want to do with it. It is truly an investment.
Yep, even if it's the personal, even if it's personal to you and there's emotions tied behind it, and there's, you raised your family in it, all of that, like in the end of things is like, it's going to build you wealth over time, and it's an investment that you make, but you're right. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing in my side of the woods. So
nice. Yeah. Sounds like the holiday season's kind of settling in here, I think, with everything too. So hopefully we'll start to see, maybe in the next 3 months or so, start to see some movement as far as interest rates go. And I think, once they do start to come down, it's going to incentivize some more of those people, the sellers that they can part ways with their 3% rate, because now they're at 6 instead of 7.5 to 8. So
I think Mr. Jan has it right. Is like, once those rates go down, it's not a matter of just there's no buyers out there. It's just that they're priced out, and once you price them back in, you're going to see them come back in, and then in turn the prices could rise. So if you can get in now, it sounds bad, but it's like, if you can get in now, you have less competition and better negotiating opportunity then. But if you can't afford it, that's totally fine.
Sure.
Too.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, Cody and I, for those of you watching, Cody and I we're gonna adapt and keep going on to this program and this Wednesday thing. We're gonna we've just been talking about having, maybe guests on or different things like that. So more to come on our side of this, and so hopefully we can provide you guys some good info, maybe some local business highlights and things like that. But it's in the works. Cody and I are working on it to continue to build this thing. If you guys have any suggestions or questions or anything like that you would like to see on this, or would you like any questions answered, even in a particular case that you have, feel free to shoot us a text, a DM, whatever, and let us know, and we'll get it back on the next time we're together, and we can answer your question particularly. So we want to be able to provide you guys value, answer any questions that you might have. So even if it sounds stupid, it's not. If you have something regarding your house or your purchase or your sale, let us know, and we can answer that online and maybe help you and help everyone else. So, but Cody, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You have a great Thanksgiving tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you next week, and we'll get going, ramped up for Christmas season. But we'll see what we have in store for next week with each other. So
I love it. Well, you enjoy Thanksgiving with your family, and we'll see you again next week.
Sounds good, man. We'll talk soon.
All right, we'll see you.
Yeah.